Welcome to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor. It is January 20th, 2026. And I'm really happy to tell you that Kerry Landis is with me. Kerry, of course, was the person most responsible, well, the only person responsible for telling me about HydroGraph Clean Power. And of course, he's a pretty good friend because of that. I think he could have
Mhm.
been a good friend anyway.
Absolutely.
But nonetheless, he's a very good friend now. And obviously, we want to talk to him about that. Since I first spoke to Kerry late in 2024. Of course, I've learned to know him quite well now, and he is also now a board member at HydroGraph Clean Power. So I think he maybe can't speak as freely as he once did about what he believes, where the company's going to go, what the stock is worth, and all of that. But he certainly knows about what's going on in the company probably better now in details than he did
Yeah.
at that time. So another thing. Well, let me just get one thing out of the way. I need to always, I
Mhm.
forget to say this, a disclaimer. I'm not getting paid for this interview. So
Mhm.
any of you out there that think that I'm getting something under the table to have to hype HydroGraph Clean Power, certainly not not true. I have shares, a good number of shares for me personally, in my portfolio, and it of course is the top recommendation in my newsletter. So those are the disclaimers. Let's get that out of the way. Well, so as I was saying, Kerry is now a board member, nuclear engineer. What a lot of people don't know about him is that he is also a very successful businessman in a couple of different areas. And I think that's important because he has this dimension, is under sort of a view of the markets, a view of the economy as a CEO of a couple of companies.
Mhm.
So, Kerry, thank you very much for joining me. It's really
My
good to see
pleasure,
your
Jay.
face again.
My pleasure.
So you manage a nuclear engineering consulting firm. Can you talk a little bit about what that is involved with? What does a nuclear
Sure.
consulting? I mean, you go to nuclear power plants and make sure everything is working right, or what do you do?
Yes. So when I retired from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission as a manager there, I formed a company called Landis Consulting. And what I had been involved with is going into nuclear facilities that had problems.
Hmm.
And by problem, I'm talking about the risk had gone up from 1 in 1 million to 1 in 100,000. So we're
Hmm.
talking about very low risk, but
Hmm.
it had gone up a little bit.
Hmm.
And that's considered, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission goes into those facilities and inspects to make sure they've identified the problem and they're taking adequate corrective action. Well, I used to do that and oversee it. So as a consulting company, I said, I can come in to help you do a root cause analysis, identify the corrective actions, and resolve the issues before the NRC shows up so you can
Oh. Hmm.
successfully pass the NRC inspection.
Hmm.
And so I've been doing that now for 14 years,
Hmm.
and my company's been very successful. I said, people laugh about this, the facilities laugh about it. And I said, I used to say that I've been 100% successful in helping you pass the inspection.
Yes.
I had to change that to now I have been 100% successful in helping you or giving you the truth.
Oh.
And so two facilities I told you're not ready, no way can you pass an NRC inspection. They ignored me and they proceeded to fail.
Ah.
So so I've been very fortunate. I've got a cadre of other consultant engineers that I take to facilities and we help them resolve their issues.
So you're continuing that business even though you are now on the board of directors of Hydrograph.
Yes, I am continuing that business. I have another business that we'll talk about here in a minute too, but uh, I don't go on the road anymore. I used to lead these teams, and now I've got men that are and women that are capable of leading these teams. So I oversee from my corporate office.
Hmm. Very good. And you mentioned you have another company.
Right.
You're involved with
My
you, and I think you said your brother-in-law, perhaps.
That's correct. My brother-in-law, Brad Winkler, and I formed a business well, we bought a business that had just a startup business. It's called Battery Boys. He operates it. It's down in Florida next to the Villages. And that company sells, modifies, sells batteries, wet cell, lithium batteries, modifies golf carts, repairs golf carts, and sells golf carts.
Hmm.
So the Villages, if anybody knows much about that, it's a few 100,000 homes, and everybody's got a golf cart.
Hmm.
And so it's it's a demand-rich environment that we're right there helping them out.
Yeah, I guess you're down there, there's those golf communities, where people build
Yeah,
their
there's
houses right on the, uh,
many
usually,
golf communities. Yes.
usually some alligator infested lakes around there too. You know,
Yeah,
I used to tell my mother when she went down there in the wintertime, Mom, you can't run very fast, but if you zigzag, then
you
I
can
think you
keep
can get
away
away
from
from
them.
them because they can't turn very fast anyway.
That's
That's-
right.
And the golf carts, I suppose, as long as you're sitting in the golf cart, you're
Probably pretty
okay.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that leads me, Kerry, given that background as a successful businessman over the years, it seems to me we're in very troubled times in terms of the economy,
Yeah.
global geopolitics, all kinds of uncertainties now, more than any time I can remember as a post-war baby. 1947, I was born, so I was just 2 years old, well, right after World War II,
Yeah, right after
pretty
war.
much. So it was, pretty good time during the 50s and 60s, and increasingly we've gotten into debt, and
Right.
we're facing some real issues now. The United States itself, as well as a lot of other countries, and our place in the world. So anyway, I'm sure you've thought about all those things, and so you
Mhm.
must have some sense of the business environment we're looking at. I see the tech stocks the last couple of days. Today was pretty weak.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts about the economy and the markets right now?
Yeah. So macroeconomically, we are in a period right now of stagflation where
Mhm.
interest rates are rising but slow. Yeah, we've actually declined inflation from 2.7 to 2% over the last couple of years, and also GDP uh, is forecast for 2.5% this year, and
Mhm.
unemployment has gone from 3.5% to 4.4%
Mhm.
over the last 3 years. So we've got rising unemployment, and GDP is fairly stagnant.
Mhm.
So um, so that doesn't create a great environment for robust business developing.
Mhm.
Interest rates, we know went up, and they've come down some, but there's a lot of uncertainty. Monetary policies that have been established all over the world, including the United States, have been um, high using a high degree of debt,
Mhm.
and as a result, we there's a point in time where we get so much debt that we can't begin to service it any longer.
Mhm.
And in fact, China used to be the country that would take a lot of our debt. Well, they've reduced treasuries dramatically over the last couple of years. So we don't have China demand to take our debt. So it's becoming more difficult to lower interest rates.
Mhm.
And Europe is in a much worse state than we are. So I see a kind of an anomaly here. Europe's debt situation is grave.
Mhm.
I don't see they're going to be able to last much longer without financial collapse.
Mhm.
A few years at the most. And as a result, unfortunately, the economic policies have established such that the government does not want to admit that they've overextended themselves with a lot of debt.
Mm-hmm.
So that, so there needs to be a scapegoat
Yeah.
for that, and war is a very convenient scapegoat. So, so we have a situation where war was not a very was not something that was really in people's thinking a few years ago, and now peace is not even discussed. War is all over the place. Uh, the fact that NATO is wanting to go in and help Ukraine when Ukraine is not even a NATO country,
Mm-hmm.
in order to have a war against Russia. That's a potential.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's rising in potential. Now, war presents a very convenient excuse for a default,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to admit that it was
Right.
our monetary policy that actually put us there.
Yeah.
Now, with that in mind, and war cycles, by the way, are increasing. In fact, you know, the world goes through various cycles,
Mm-hmm.
and we're now at a point where war is or conflicts are all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we have 100 conflicts going on in 60 countries today,
Wow.
and uh, and you see the conflicts that are beginning even to develop in the United States.
Uh-huh.
Red states against blue states,
Right.
ICE against anti-ICE, etc. So conflicts and war cycles are on the increase. Now, this presents us a little bit of an anomaly here, which I think is confusing to most people, and I owe some of this understanding due to Martin Armstrong's
Mm-hmm.
analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that the United States is the country that is the safest haven at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So if people in Europe, and there are more and more people in Europe and other countries that are beginning to realize they need to get their money to a safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
So money is coming into the United States.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons that our stock market has been really in a bull market for quite a number of years now is because money keeps coming into the US. And how do they come in? They buy US treasuries or they buy US securities.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also, they we have found out that as people begin to have less confidence in government, even the US government, even though it's the safest haven at the moment, they'll begin to move money into physical, like
Mm-hmm.
gold, silver, and real estate. So we're seeing lots of money beginning to come into gold and silver and real estate. So that's why we're seeing gold at
Yeah.
$4,700 now. And silver has some other factors that I'll go into in a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
overall, in general, money is moving more into precious metals, tangible assets, and geopolitically moving to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's still a time where we're going to have to pay the piper too, because we've got $1 trillion deficit.
Yeah.
So that time frame is, I believe it's down the road. Again, owing this to Martin Armstrong's
These for
cyclical
cycles.
analysis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That time frame of paying the piper is probably in the 2032 time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a few years left where I don't really see, the U.S. stock market is going to have its ups and downs, but it's not going to see a tremendous turn into a bear phase until probably post 2030, 2032 timeframe.
Okay. Well, that's somewhat reassuring, at least
Right.
for the next little while anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and what you're saying about interest rates and the inability to service debt means that the only way to pay for it also is to print more money, which is
Right.
also, I think,
Inflation. Yeah.
what the precious metals markets are looking at.
That's
And
correct. Inflation. Yeah.
so you mentioned silver. I know you're very bullish on silver now. Who isn't? I mean, it's well, I think yeah, almost everybody's thrown in the towel. We've had the shorts. The TD Bank was short big time apparently,
Mhm.
and they've
Mhm.
gotten their comeuppance here now. I think they were trying to suggest that $60 was a top, and then that blew right through that, didn't it? We're nearly $100.
Yeah.
What are the dynamics on silver that's making that even more bullish at the moment than gold?
Okay. So I'll go into some of the factors here for silver, but I want to give credit where credit's due. Michael Oliver did a fabulous analysis of silver and in his momentum analysis.
Hmm.
And I'll refer a number of times to his reference that we're going to a new normal,
Hmm.
where he thinks silver is going to go somewhere between $200 and $500.
Yeah, by the way, Michael's going to be on this program next week. So
Very good.
just
Very
for
good.
people to be aware.
Well, I
He's
listen to
excellent. He's
every time he speaks, I try to listen to what he says
mhm.
because
A lot of people do.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he's very good.
yeah.
We've had a supply deficit in silver for the last 5 years plus. Production has been flat to declining because no new mines opening up, or at least until recently.
Hmm.
And it's difficult to recover silver once it's being used. So a lot of times when
Recycle.
commodities used, you can recover it and reclaim it, but that's difficult to do when it's in weapons or
Hmm.
electronics. Some EV vehicles you could probably gain, but it's not economically recoverable to any great extent. So the demand drivers in silver are we've had a surge in industrial usage with solar panels, electric vehicles, electronics such as AI, AI data centers, and 5G and 6G networks. Silver is also designated as a critical element for military and security
Hmm.
needs.
Hmm.
So we have a need to build up strategic reserves, which had been depleted over the years. Um, and nations and companies are adding all over to their strategic reserves. Like China has stopped exporting.
Hmm.
They're not allowing it to export without a specific permit now. Samsung and Tesla are beginning to they are use a lot of silver, so they're trying to stockpile because they see the prices continuing to
Hmm.
go up.
Hmm.
Um, Physical silver is priced today at a premium to paper silver.
Yeah.
Um, so that tells you that there is a break in the normally you'll have arbitrage across nations and companies and miners and end users that keeps the physical and the paper very close. Well, that's
Hmm.
broken. I've seen it go as high as $10+ separation, physical higher than paper. And that has resulted in a significant increase in demand on futures
Hmm.
contracts delivery.
Hmm.
That, I believe, caught a lot of bankers by surprise.
Right.
And as a result, um, they had been net short
Hmm.
silver, and when delivery was demanded on many of the contracts, they got caught flat-footed.
Yep.
And I believe many of them have lost a lot of money and
Yes.
have switched now from net short to net
Net
long.
long. That's right. I read that the other day. But you know, Kerry, they were the banks, the bullion banks have been traditionally net short, and they have
Correct.
always made money on both sides of the market. And they would pretty much cause the market to move in whatever direction they wanted.
Right.
And
Right.
so, as long as people were satisfied that that piece of paper they had was as good as the silver or the gold,
Right.
but now they're starting to question the currency that paper is denominated in, and so therefore they want the real thing,
That's
and
correct.
more and more people want the real thing. And it was something like 100 times more paper contracts out there than
Right.
actual physical gold or silver that gets delivered.
That's correct.
So now the shorts are being squeezed, and which begs the question, how high can it go? And you didn't mention another demand, or maybe another demand element is, of course, monetary,
Right.
that people look
That's
at.
correct.
And so,
Currency's declining and silver going up just in terms of various currencies.
mhm,
So and the one of the also big things that I mentioned previously is trust in government is declining. It
right,
used to be that that gold and silver were considered unnecessary because the government was in total control of the economy.
right.
A lot of people are beginning to lose confidence in that today,
Yeah,
and rightly so, I think.
yeah,
And as a result, they want a larger portion of their portfolio to be in precious metals.
sure. Outside of the system, as it were,
Correct.
in a way.
So silver, as Michael Oliver has stated, is transforming to a new normal. It used to be stuck for like I think he said 50 years, between 5 to 50.
Yeah,
It's broken out of that, and he thinks it'll settle out somewhere potentially within the next 6 months between 200 to $500.
it's 500
Uh,
even. Yeah,
that's
that's a massive yeah,
massive
that's a new
impact.
world. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's really amazing. I mean, I believe that's right, and it's one of the reasons that I've allocated after HydroGraph Clean Power. I think my biggest allocation is certainly to silver miners, which are now picking up, and I think they have a long ways to go, Kerry, because the margins are just magnificent. Same with the gold guys too. And I don't think
Absolutely.
the market has caught up yet. They're still buying AI and other things more, and not ignoring the precious metals, I think.
You're right. In fact, silver producers were in the past marginally profitable when gold was at $1,000 and silver
Yeah,
was at $15.
yeah.
Now gold is at 4,700 and silver is at $94 plus.
Hmm.
So the advantage that we have right now is Wall Street is still pricing the miners, thinking that these the future earnings are going to be back down at the lower level, that the
Yeah,
price will decline like it always has.
yeah.
And therefore, the earnings aren't going to be anything stellar. They'll go back to the old levels.
Hmm.
Well, if Michael Oliver is correct, and I'm pretty confident he is, it's not going back to the old levels. We've got a new normal between 200 to 500, and that so today the prices of the producers are not taking into account the increased earnings that they're going to
That's
have
right.
over the
That's
next few
right. Because the
quarters.
assumption is those aren't going to last, those earnings. So
That's correct.
yeah.
So, with this new normal, lots of producers, and I'll just give you a few, Coeur,
Mhm.
Contango, which is combining with Dolly Varden
Yeah.
now, Endeavor, Hecla, and America's Silver and Gold. Uh, they that's just some examples of them will become extremely profitable with just as the stock,
Hmm.
5 to 10x potential.
I agree with you.
Many of them have gone up already 50% to
Hmm.
100. In fact, one of them, I didn't mention this one, which has gone up 200%. And
200%. Yeah.
yeah, it's not a producer. Give me 1 second here. For some reason, the name escaped me. It is, um, why is it not showing up? Pardon me just for a moment here, Jay. I'll look this up. Highcroft.
Hycroft.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Highcroft went. Uh, I started trying to buy it at $15, and it closed today at 40, like 41 plus.
How long ago was that? The
That's just like 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
well, certainly, yeah, and we've seen some Avino silver and gold had a big run,
Right,
and a lot of
right,
others too. And
right.
and I don't think that they're fully priced by any means yet at current prices of silver, never mind something much higher possibly. So
And there are a lot of silver juniors, of course. All anybody has to do is look at your newsletter, and there's others around that go into some of the silver juniors.
yeah,
Now, I think the silver producers are going to see the benefit first
first, yeah,
because
absolutely.
they're gonna have a cash flow that's just unbelievable.
Absolutely, but of course, there's capital going into this sector now, so that the exploration guys have some money to drill and build new ounces. So
Well, in fact, the earnings that the producers uh, get over the next few quarters will provide the fuel that they will look to juniors and say, which ones do I
mhm,
want to buy?
that's right.
And so they're going to start seeing
Absolutely. Well, those are the ones, of course, I'm looking at. The exploration companies that might be targets for the majors are largely what we're looking at in my newsletter.
that's correct.
Well, that's silver looks really bullish, and I agree with you on that. Robert Friedland's talking about copper. Copper, he
Mhm.
says, to sustain 3% global GDP growth, humanity must mine as much copper in the next 18 years as in the entire 10,000 years combined. Well,
Right.
that sounds a little bit preposterous, but Robert Friedland is a great promoter, and
Mhm.
he's got copper stocks, and yeah, he's been a very successful promoter and mine builder too. So I don't discount that entirely. But
Not
what
at
are your
all.
thoughts about copper?
No, I totally agree with him. I don't know about the extent that
Yeah.
but it is going to be in a strong bull market. It is seeing some of the same factors for silver, which are EVs,
Hmm.
solar, data centers, things like that. They all use a lot of copper too, along with silver. So we're seeing the exact same increase in demand, and they suffer from the same thing. We haven't had a lot of building of new copper mines,
Right.
and they take a decade or longer to build. So copper, yes, is going to be a very strong investment. So any of the producers, and in fact, you just came out with Intrepid Metals
Oh,
as
yes,
the
I love it.
junior.
And yeah, and
Fantastic.
that one shouldn't take as long as some of them because it's on private land. It's in Arizona.
Right.
The regulatory framework is very amenable to production. So, of course, Arizona is known as the copper state. It produces a lot
Absolutely.
of copper, about 70% of all our copper, something like that.
In fact, if you want, so I totally agree that copper and silver. I've got an example here of silver, of the potential for silver upside that people can follow my numbers.
Sure.
I like to go through, and I did this with HydroGraph,
Yes, you did.
went through the potential,
Yes.
because that's part of a good analysis
Sure.
is see what the future value is going to be,
Hmm.
and then buy when other people don't realize that.
Right. Exactly. Well,
So
it's certainly what we've done with hydrographs. So, yeah.
that's correct. And I'll give you a similar example for silver. And this is, you and I had talked previously looking for what were the big potential investments for 2026 that were going to vie for the award for the greatest growth in 2026. I believe hydrograph and silver are neck and neck.
Mm.
And here's my example of silver. So I'll use one stock, Endeavor Silver.
Okay.
It's projecting approximately 15 million ounces of silver production, silver equivalent in 2026. Its all-in sustaining costs is 27 to $28. So I use 28. Assume silver's new normal settles at 228, the low end of
Of Michael's.
Michael Oliver's
Yeah.
range. And I use 228 so I can subtract out the all-in sustaining costs of 28.
Okay.
That gives you a $200 per ounce earning. And times
Yeah.
15 million ounces.
Yeah.
That's $3 billion in earnings in 2026.
How many
Times,
shares? How many shares do they have?
okay, times 10 PE would be
Uh-huh.
30 billion
Uh-huh.
market cap, and they've got 300 million shares. So divide that out. That's a $100 stock price.
That's incredible.
And it was $10 last week, and it's at like 12 and change
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm. And
So
yeah,
that's just so that's a 10x upside
yeah.
potential for just this year.
Do you have a few shares, Kerry?
I do.
No. Surprise,
And
surprise.
yeah, surprise. And so if you use 428, you can
Mm-hmm.
double the numbers
Yeah,
that I just went
yeah.
through. So for your especially astute investors, Endeavor also has call options,
Mm,
and they have call options that go out for 2 years. So a
yeah.
January 2028 call option, a $10 call.
Mhm.
Then now this is last Friday,
Yeah, yeah. And
not
now
today's price.
it's above that now. Yeah. So,
So that you could buy a call, which is 100 shares at $600. It costs you
what
$6 for
what
that.
time frame?
2 years,
2 years.
January of 2028.
Wow, 2 years.
2 years. So
So it's a $10 strike and it's a $2 profit already on that, right?
already, yes.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 years to let it continue to go.
Hmm.
So that would potentially yield at $100 would potentially yield 10,000 minus the
Hmm.
6,000 or $600 that you paid
For the call, for
for
the
the
option.
call. So you're talking about 16 to 32x potentially if it goes to 20,000, which it could.
Yeah.
So in other words, you can with a very minimal risk of $600, you could get a very high return.
2 years. So we'll have to see how the market, but that, I mean, that speaks to what you were saying earlier, that people aren't really seeing the upside here. They think it's going to be over pretty soon.
That's
Silver will
correct.
come back down. Good old US dollar is going to be there like it always has been. Uh,
Right.
well, it hasn't always been there. As a matter of fact, gold has outperformed the S&P 500 since the turn of the century. Just
That's
owning gold, you could have gone fishing,
that's
bought
correct.
gold and gone fishing, and you'd have beat the S&P 500, including dividends, I believe. Anyway,
But just along with that, Jay, I remember now, I'm just slightly younger than you.
yes, you're 4 or 5 trips around the sun, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember buying gold at $200 an ounce
Uh-huh.
back in 2020.
That's correct.
I'm sorry,
Not
2000.
2020,
2000.
2000. That's right. In the early
2000.
2000s. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So
Well,
it's really gone a long way.
you had mentioned another idea that I hadn't thought of before we started recording, and that was floor power. Uh,
Yes, fluorspar. Yes. So that's another example of a real high growth potential. Fluorspar, most people don't know much about it. It is the mineral fluorite. It's called calcium fluoride,
mm-hmm,
CaF2. The element that's critical in it is fluorine.
mm-hmm,
See, and it's got two fluorine atoms for each calcium.
mm-hmm,
And if it is, so the mineral is called fluorspar.
mm-hmm,
If it is 97% pure, it's called acid spar. And that's what's highly sought after. So 97% calcium fluoride is very highly sought after. Now, most people don't realize the lower quality is used for flux in steel making,
mm-hmm,
and the acid spar is used for producing um, hydrofluoric acid for use in plastics and fluorocarbons. That's refrigerants, coolants. Every air conditioner has fluorocarbons in it. Also, most people don't realize that to separate uranium-235 from uranium-238, you have to combine the uranium-235 with 6 fluorine, so uranium hexafluoride.
Oh,
So it's critical even to the production of the right concentration of uranium for fission. So it is very, very important. And and as a result, it is declared a strategic mineral.
mm-hmm.
The United States does not have any production
Hmm.
today.
Hmm.
It has been 100% dependent upon China and Mexico, and
Oh,
China is pulling back. And so there are only 2 companies that are in the United States that are near-term producers of
mm-hmm.
fluorspar, and that is Ares, ARES Strategic Mining,
Mm-hmm.
symbol is ARSMF,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is Clean Tech Vanadium Mining, and
Uh-huh.
that's CTVFF.
Mm-hmm.
Now, both of those are, one's about 50 cents, Eris, and the other's, in fact, jumped significantly today to about 19 or 20 cents. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Clean Tech Vanadium did. Now, Cleantech Vanadium is looking, they've got a very large land package about the size of Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, on it, it used to be a fluorspar producing mine, but has not been producing for uh, many, many years. But they want to put that back in production within the next year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And Aris Strategic Mining has been building their mine. That's in Idaho,
Hmm.
and they intend to be in full scale production by the middle of this year.
Oh, okay.
So the 2 of them should be generating fluorspar and be highly profitable within a very short period of time. So
Mm-hmm.
those are 2, I think, very, very high growth investments.
Well, I have to take a look at the economics of that thing, and I imagine you have good
Yes.
margins. And I mean, I don't have
Yes.
any idea about the price of fluorspar. So
Yeah, the price has gone from $267 a ton in 2017 to about $600 a ton now.
huh?
As so it's seen a bull market, and with the restraint of China
Mm.
not wanting to let strategic minerals go, the price I think is going to reach a new normal. And I don't know what level it'll get to, but the fact that we have 2 producers here in the United States, they will. In fact, I'll give you an example too. Aris Strategic Mining just received
Mhm.
a $169 million contract
Ooh,
from the government
uh-huh.
to to provide fluorspar.
Okay, so it's to build
Uh,
up the plant and all that, I suppose, huh?
well, the plant is almost done,
Oh,
so
okay.
so it really is going to be future earnings for them to build strategic reserves of fluorspar.
I see. Interesting. Very, very interesting, Kerry. So that's, I guess what you're saying here is that you said silver and HydroGraph Clean Power do neck and
Would
neck for the prize this year, in your view.
right, right.
But this would be another idea that might
That's
make some
correct.
sense. Maybe something for me to take a look at for my newsletter. I'll have to
Right.
check that out and educate myself a little bit
Very good.
more on that. So, okay, so maybe we can get to our favorite stock now,
Sure.
HydroGraph Clean Power. And there's a lot of, an absence of news to a certain extent, although there's been some hires, some very, I think,
Mhm.
impressive people that have been added to the company, or in the case of Mr. Gentleman from the Geek, um,
Right. Yes.
he he's
Baker. Yeah.
he's not a hire, but he's a consultant, I guess, a kind of
Yeah.
a thing.
James Baker. Right.
James Baker, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What can you tell us about? Give us an update on HydroGraph. I believe you were at a recent board meeting, perhaps,
Yeah.
so you must have a pretty good idea where the company is. I mean, there's lots of questions, of course. One of the biggest ones is when are we going to see some contracts? And
Right.
probably nobody knows that for sure. But anyway, go ahead.
Right.
Tell us what you know.
So Let me begin by saying that it's, of course, a great honor for me to join the HydroGraph team as a member of the board of directors. I joined back in September of last year.
Hmm.
And right after I joined, I went to Manhattan, Kansas to visit Dr. Sorensen, who discovered the process for developing pure graphene. And also I inspected closely. I mean, I'm an engineer, so I was really a chemist and an engineer, so I really wanted to take a look at the Hyperion unit, and a lot
Sure.
of good engineering went into that from Stephen Corkle.
Hmm.
Um, and they were producing inventory as we speak. It's pretty much in full operation, building up inventory ready for the first few purchase orders that come through. So as a board member, I can't really say all the forward-looking statements that I did prior to being a board member, but let me just suffice it to say, you interviewed me 3 times, I believe, back last year.
I think that's
And
right.
if
Yeah.
anyone wants to see the specific details, the numbers that I went through, they certainly can go back and look at those interviews on either your Substack or on YouTube.
So they would not be materially different, is what you're saying?
Not materially different. In
Okay.
fact, I'm every bit as confident that in my investment in HydroGraph, or I wouldn't have joined the board. I'm very confident. So yeah, they can see that, and it would not be materially different.
Hmm.
So another thing, a few items that I wanted to mention, that there have been press releases out,
Yeah.
and one of them was we had a $20 million dollar life offering.
Right.
That, when placements come out like that, sometimes they take weeks, many weeks to finish. This $20 million was snapped up in less than a day.
Yeah. I know that. So Doug Casey, for example, wanted to get in on it and it was too late. So
Yeah,
lots
it
of.
was. So there are a lot of people that recognize the potential,
Mhm.
and when this life offering came up, it was just gobbled up immediately. So that's a good indicator.
Sure.
Also, an announcement came out about James Baker.
Hmm.
He's stepping down from his position at the University of Manchester. He, of course, headed up the GEEK, which is the Graphene Engineering Innovation
Hmm.
Center. And he developed the GEEK and is very intimately familiar with hydrograph. We've done lots and lots of tests have been done to meet the desire of end users, and they had to do a lot of the testing using our graphene,
Hmm.
and there's a arm's length distance, like a third party. He had to do those testing without us being involved in it,
Sure.
and that's the tier 2 arrangement. And found out that we were successful in being the best pick every hands down every time.
Yeah, there was an announcement about moving up into a tier
Tier
one
one,
member.
yes, yes.
Hydrograph, the only tier one member at this point.
I think so. I don't know for sure, but I
And
believe we are the only tier 1 member.
what does that mean? I mean,
So that
what difference does that make to Hydrograph?
So that means that we have our own lab now. We don't have to share it with other
I
people. We
see.
have our own lab with more proprietary work,
Mhm.
and we can work alongside the engineers and scientists uh, at the Geek.
Mhm.
So before we had to have a separate lab where we just exchanged information back and forth.
Mhm.
Now they're so confident in the quality of hydrographs graphene that now we can work mutually and dig deeper into and share ideas and develop additional opportunities
Mhm.
and end products.
Mhm.
And so the 75 projects that we've worked on separately, we can now and did really well on, we can now develop even more.
Hmm.
So, and in fact, one of the things that it has helped us in is the U.S. Army Research Laboratory was over at Geek in the UK and was talking with them, and we were drawn into that to discuss the graphene that HydroGraph has, being the only pure graphene of any company. And so the U.S. Army Research Laboratory plans to develop a geek in the United States. And our understanding is that we are going to play a key role in that.
That how soon might that happen, Kerry?
That usually takes congressional funding and
Okay.
development, so it's probably going to be a 2 to 3 year
Uh-huh.
process
Uh-huh.
to develop that.
Hmm.
But the key thing for us is that we will have a center role in that
Hmm.
development. They recognize our relationship, and now as a tier one relationship with Geek has shown the U.S. Army Research Laboratory that we're uh, the top people to be involved in this.
Kerry, you mentioned that now that you're a tier one member, you can bring on more customers. I can
Mhm.
hear people saying, well, you got 60 already. Could we have one commercial contract?
Yeah, and
And,
unfortunately, we don't pull the strings on that, but we expect this year to be significant, that it's going to build up this year. And honestly, we're expecting this quarter, Q1, to have a few purchase orders to come into place.
I
Uh,
that will be an exciting day when that happens.
that's right. We'll shout from the rooftop, and we've all been waiting with bated breath for the first one to come in.
Yeah, I would imagine if you just whispered, the stock would really respond very.
That's correct.
It wouldn't have to be a rah rah rah. Can just whisper.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so that'd be really good. And then in terms of wondered about the pipeline and the manufacturing facility as well. Maybe you could comment on the move to Austin if that's going
Right.
according to plan.
So the plans and the construction of the office, they're needed. It's an existing building in
Uh-huh.
Austin, Texas, and it's being reconstructed to put a lab, and we've got to get fire marshal approval and things like that.
Mhm.
So that's all in progress. We're expecting to be able to be in it by the end of February.
Oh, okay.
Certainly by the end of the quarter, but we're anticipating by the end of February. And then once we get the lab up and running and a Hyperion unit or two there, and have something, a nice dog and pony show to be able to show people, we're going to have a grand opening, and that'll be in Q2 of this year.
Hmm.
So, that people can look forward to that.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned the construction facility is not in Austin. It's going to be in another location,
Right. Right.
not far
It's,
away,
yeah.
suburb of Houston.
Hmm.
So we have a contract that is being reviewed. It's in the final review right now with a provider of acetylene.
Hmm.
And we anticipate that certainly this quarter, if not next month,
Hmm.
we anticipate having that contract in hand. Once once that contract for the supply of acetylene is finished, then we will begin the construction. The building already exists. We'll begin um, the scale up of
Hmm.
Hyperion units, and with an expectation that we want to have many units by the end of this year.
I see.
Many units that will be necessary, we believe, to meet the demand that's going to be developed over this year.
Over this year.
That's
Any other regulatory issues, FDA or anything like that, that some people seem to be concerned about?
Yeah, we're not the EPA
For
approval.
EPA, right?
We anticipate that to be this quarter also. We don't know of any hang up there. It's just the final processing that has to take place, and we're expecting that this quarter. The FDA, there is a potential need for that, but that's down the road. EPA is really what we need right now.
Hmm.
Um,
But the
and
FDA would have to do with the drug, or
right,
the
right.
drug applications for
That,
testing and so
that's
forth. It's,
that's correct.
yeah,
That's
okay,
correct. EPA is for plastic use and bottles and things like
sure.
that.
Uh-huh, yeah,
So
yeah,
we should be good there.
uh-huh.
Um,
You had also mentioned, I think the company was planning to a couple of Hyperion machines they were going to have
yes.
constructed. Is that coming along, or we're?
Yes, that's coming along. We expect those. We're building two more Hyperion units in Manhattan, Kansas.
Mhm,
Those we expect to be completed by the end of February.
mhm,
That will give us a production capacity of 30 metric tons per annum.
mhm,
We're anticipating the need for many more
mhm.
of those, of course, which would be developed in the new facility in Texas. Um, so yeah, those are well underway. In fact, we're finding that we anticipated around $500,000, 350 to $500,000 per unit. Uh,
Mhm.
so very low capital cost, but we're seeing as we're building these next two that we're likely going to be able to reduce the capital expenditure
Really?
for those
Okay.
units.
Oh, that's good.
So we already have tremendous 70 to 80% margins, and we could even best that uh,
Mhm.
as time goes on.
Kirsten had talked about a NASDAQ listing, hopefully this quarter. Is that still a possibility, or it
Yeah,
could slip, I think?
probably. So probably we're going down a path that it's a lot of documentation, a heavy
Yeah,
regulatory path.
yeah.
We're anticipating that's probably not going to be till Q2.
Q2. Okay.
But we do anticipate that it'll be completed in quarter two.
Hmm.
Um, but it is well underway. We don't see any just some decisions and some documents and some filings that have to be done that it's usually always more complex and takes a little longer than you anticipate. And that
Sure, sure
here.
thing. And you see a $4 share price. You're not quite there now. So, but maybe
Right.
some of these announcements that you're talking about, Kerry, I have to
Should
think
get us there.
if they come to fruition, probably won't have a problem
I don't
with that
I, I don't
level.
believe that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Well, it all sounds very encouraging. I don't know if there's anything else sort
Well,
of
we're
coming up here. Yeah.
the redomicile. We are doing that in parallel with the Nasdaq listing. We're trying to get both of those done
Uh-huh.
in
Okay.
Q2. So we are going to redomicile into the U.S. company.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another thing that will help give people the idea that we are progressing here, and we're not. It's not that we don't anticipate contracts and purchase orders. In fact, we are significantly anticipating. So we are building out and the two new units, and we're hiring people. We
Mm-hmm.
just hired one of the announcements that came out. We hired Rob McMaster. He is the senior VP of
Uh-huh.
operations and supply chain, and he's the one that's going to be responsible for building out that facility,
Uh-huh.
the production facility in
Mm-hmm.
Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and and uh, and if anyone wants to go to our hydrograph.com / careers, we have listed a number of positions there that business development manager. We have a VP of business development is working hard to get these finalized contracts. But we need a business development manager, a sales rep, controls engineer, supply chain director, laboratory manager, and instrument scientist. So we
Uh-huh.
do have a number of positions that
Number.
we're
Mhm.
hiring for.
Wonderful. Well, it seems like that's a pretty thorough update, Kerry. Anything else
Um,
you can
let's
think of?
see. That's, I would say my conclusion for
Uh-huh.
HydroGraph is that we are scaling up production. We're nearing um, commercialization. We are preparing graphene commercially. We've got a few minor sales for testing,
Hmm.
but we're nearing expanded commercialization, which we expect to expand significantly this year. Soon to be listed on the NASDAQ and re-domiciled into the US. So we are ready to be re-rated as a full commercial operation before the end of this year.
Wow. All right. Well, very good. Well, I want to thank you, Kerry, for your extensive um, knowledge and sharing it with us, and
Absolutely, my pleasure.
company, as well as your other ideas about investing. And very much welcome, I'm sure, to my viewers. Thank you very much for spending
Absolutely.
time, and all the best to you and yours, and the company, of course, Kjirstin and Kjirstin. I better say her name right. Kjirstin, Kjirstin.
Yep,
So thanks so much, Kerry.
absolutely. My pleasure, Jay. Always, as always.
All righty, folks. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, Michael Oliver will be with me, and Frank Holmes as well. So until we meet again, goodbye and God's blessings to you.